Now in this lesson we are dealing with understanding self. Now what is the self? Self is a reference by an individual to the same individual person. That is, who am I? That is self. A reference to me. This reference is necessarily subjective, and it follows that self is a reference by a subject to the same subject. The sense of having a self or selfhood should, however, not be confused with subjectivity itself. Apparently, there is a directedness outward from the subject that refers inward back to itself or itself. That is, who am I? What am I doing? How am I? Am I correct? So, what is in me? That is self. A reference about me to myself. Now, when we say self-consciousness, it's an acute sense of self-awareness. That is, I am aware of myself. It is a preoccupation with oneself, as opposed to the philosophical state of self-awareness, which is the awareness that one exists as an individual being. An unpleasant feeling of self-consciousness may occur when one realizes that one is being watched or observed. The feeling that everyone is looking at oneself. Some people are habitually more self-conscious than others. So what is a self-conscious? It is not the spiritual self-awareness. That is, I am aware that I am one with the Paramatma, Jivatma with Paramatma. That is not the case here. Self-awareness means, let us suppose I am going to a party. I am not dressed up for the party, but I had to go. So, I am not dressed in my pattu sari and all. Just like that, in a very simple sari, I went. So, I am self-conscious. People are watching me. I am conscious about myself. So, that is the acute sense of self-awareness. Now, self-realization. It's an expression used in psychology, philosophy, as well as spirituality and Eastern religions. It is defined as the fulfillment by oneself of the possibilities of one's character or personality. That is, what can be done by me has been achieved. That is self-realization. I know who I am and I have done up to my capability. That is self-realization. Adler defines self-realization as freedom from external compulsion, including cultural expectations, political and economic freedom, and the freedom from worldly attachments and desires, etc. Self-realization is a functional awareness of the soul. Nan yar? Ramana Maharishi asked, no? That is self-realization. Self, the physical body, is a means by which we perceive soul and thereby receive divine love, hence the importance of cleaning it and keeping it pure for God alone. This purification implies the investigation, the removal of the inner causes that hampers, that stays in between, in receiving the divine love that have been planted there by environmental inheritance. That is, in the next unit you will be learning about self-realization in detail. Now this self is the physical body. It is attached to the soul. Now you are realizing the divine personality. So that should be the ultimate aim of anybody. Now what is the self-awareness? It's the capacity of introspection and the ability to recognize oneself as an individual separate from the environment and other individuals. It is not to be confused with the consciousness. That is, I am conscious of who am I. Self-awareness is strength and the weakness. You know about you. Consciousness is a term given to being aware of one's environment and body and style. Awareness is the recognition of that awareness. So what is this consciousness? Let's suppose I'm standing in front of 100 people and I'm talking. I'm conscious that people are watching me. 100 eyes are watching me. So I'm conscious. But I'm aware that I have prepared and I'm dressed up well for the occasion. So I'm aware that I can do my best. But I'm conscious that people are watching me so that I should not make any mistake. So that's the difference between awareness and consciousness. Now what's the self-concept? An idea of the self constructed from the beliefs one holds about oneself and the responses of others is largely a reflection of the reactions of others towards an individual. It's generally thought of as an individual perceptions of our behavior, abilities and unique characteristics. This is a mental picture which you have framed about you as a person. I'm a good friend. I'm a kind person. I'm good. No, I'm weak. I'm fat. I'm thin. So, the concept which you have made about yourself, how you perceive, how you look at yourself, that is self-concept. Now, the self-concept is a collection of beliefs about oneself. So this is an answer to the concept, who am I? It is an image that we have of ourselves. It is a mental picture of who am I as a person. I can teach well. I am a teacher. I am a good teacher. I am a good listener. I am easily approachable. I am a friend to everybody. So this is a mental picture which I have. So it's like that. According to psychologists, self-concept of a person is an overall belief about his physical, mental, social and emotional characteristics as well as his ambitions and performances. And now Carl Rogers says 3 components self-concept has: self-image, self-esteem and ideal self. Now what are these 3? Self-image, self-esteem and ideal. So the 3 components of self-concept has self-image, ideal self and self-esteem. So look at the image. Can you guess what it is? The image what I have about me is the image, self-image. The ideal self, what I should be like. I should be like that. So that is ideal self. I don't like what I am now, but I should be like that. I have an ideal for that. Now self-esteem. Yes, I'm good at something. And I'm good at everything. People like me. So that is self-esteem. Now in detail we'll see about self-image is how you see yourself. So what you think you look like. I'm fat, I'm thin, I'm tall, I'm dark, I'm beautiful. How you see your personality. I'm a strong personality. I don't cry for anything. I can withstand anything. What kind of a person you think you are. What you believe others think of you. Everybody likes me. How much you like yourself or you think others like you. I don't like me because, no, I am a coward. So that's, no, I am a strong person. So this is it. The status you feel you have. Yes, I am economically sound. No, I don't have money. I don't know how I will live. So this is the self-image. Maybe this is my self-image. Yes? Now, what is self-esteem? Is again how you feel about yourself, because these are self-concept and how much value you place on yourself. Self-image and self-esteem are closely connected, but they are not the same. Image is how you see about yourself and how you believe others see you. But self-esteem depends on your self-image. If you have a poor opinion about yourself, then you will have very low self-esteem. But if you think high about you, then you will have very high self-esteem. You want to place yourself in a very high pedestal, that is high self-esteem. But what is this ideal self? Ideal self is an idealized version of yourself developed over time, based on what you have learned and experienced. I want to be like this. I want to be like this actress. I want to be like the other actress. The ideal self could include components of what your parents have taught you. Society promotes and what you think about your best interest. I want to be a very good doctor. That's my ideal self. Students' parents are doctors who are respected and admired in the society. Their experience tells their son that in order to be happy, he needs to be smart and have a high-paying job, and he needs to be a doctor. So that's the ideal self. Now this picture is self-explanatory. Full self-acceptance. So the self is balanced, confidence. He is a rational thinker. He has an idea about himself, his ideal self and his self-image are the same. But this person is having a low self-esteem. He is underestimating his capacity. He is a bishop. He can do enormously and a wonderful job, but he thinks he is a pawn. He cannot do anything. That's a lower self-esteem. But this person, high self-esteem, is a bishop, but he thinks, yes, I am the king. I can do anything. So that's it. High self-confidence and self-esteem, but irrational thinker. Self-concept develops and changes throughout the lifespan. It depends. It changes at every stage. At the age of 3 years, children have a very broad sense of self. At this age, they learn more new words as part of language development and use words such as big or nice to describe themselves to others. This represents the beginnings of self-concept. If you go and talk to any 3-year-old child, then he will say, you know, I got a prize in this. I got a first prize in this, in running, second prize in talking. So he has a great self-esteem and self-concept. At the age of 4 years, they begin to see themselves as separate and unique individual. During 7 and 8, they are mentally able to express their feelings and abilities, and they will get feedback from peers, teachers, and family. How am I? They will ask you. Do you like me? Do you love me? Am I doing this correctly? They want to get feedback. Around the age of 11 years, a sense of social self starts to develop among children. You can see the confidence with which they walk. Due to this, they often reference social groups and make social comparisons, as well as start to think about how others see them. Now, self-esteem reflects a person's overall subjective emotional evaluation, his or her own worth. It's a judgment of oneself, and it's an attitude towards the self. It's the belief about oneself. I'm worthy, I'm good. So his triumph, his pride, his shame, everything comes there. The self-concept is what we think about the self. Self-esteem is the positive or negative evaluations of the self. as in how we feel about it. Self-esteem is attractive as social psychological construct. What do you mean by a construct? It's an idea, because researchers have conceptualized it as an influential predictor of certain outcomes. If you have good self-esteem, then you will have good academic achievement. You will have satisfaction in marriage and relationships and happiness. So this is about it. Now this picture speaks volume. Signs of healthy and low self-esteem. High and healthy self-esteem. Able to say no. Able to accept strength and weakness. Able to express your needs. I never get that right. So even if, you know your weakness. I never get that right means you are telling you cannot do that. But you don't feel ashamed to say that. Now when you have low self-esteem, but this is healthy self-esteem, it's not high, it's healthy. Should accept your strength and weakness. Low self-esteem, trouble accepting positive feedback. Even if you give a positive feedback, oh no, this time I have done, but I don't know whether this will continue. The belief that others are better than you. No, I will not do any work. Fear of failure. So that is low self. Now what is this SWOC? Strength, weakness, opportunities, challenges, analysis. This is a strategic planning method. Now these days it's being used for in every company for success and growth. Not only in company, everywhere. That is, we should know what is our strength, what's our weakness, and what are the opportunities given to us, and what are the challenges we need to take. Now this is very, very essential. This is a strategic planning tool. This can be used for curriculum assessment. Just go through the picture, your strength, your weakness, the opportunities, and the threats or the challenges which is posed from the society to you, and how you are going to overcome with your strength and knowing your weakness. So when you understand yourself, the first one is self-acceptance. Now what is the self-acceptance? It's accepting oneself unconditionally. My positive and my negative, I know. My strength and weakness, yes, this is me. It's me. I love myself. First you need to love yourself. That is self-acceptance. This is an individual satisfaction or happiness with oneself. And it is very, very necessary for good mental health. If you don't have self-acceptance, then you can never be happy. This is a realistic, even though subjective. You need to be aware of strength and weakness. This results in an individual's feeling about oneself. Yes, I am worth and I am uniquely worth. In clinical psychology and positive psychology, self-acceptance is considered as the prerequisite for change to occur. It can be achieved by stopping criticizing and solving the defects of oneself, and then accepting them to be existing within oneself. That is, tolerating oneself to be imperfect in some parts. It's okay if I'm imperfect. Let's suppose I know that I'm a bit fat. Then what should I do? I should try to do more exercise and diet to control my weight. But if I cannot do that, it's okay. I need to accept myself and I need to love myself. Because maybe my hormonal problems, it's okay. I am born in this way. Okay? So it's accepting myself. Some distinguish between conditional and unconditional self-acceptance. Self-perception refers to the way in which people come to understand their own positive and negative. I can perceive myself correctly. I know where I stand. That's what they say. Now, unconditional self-love. Everybody should have. It's about honoring who you are today, not who you might become tomorrow. When you create some mythical better version of yourself, no. My better version only I like means it's not self-love and self-acceptance. I know myself. I know myself with my positive and negative, and I love myself with my positive and negative, and that is self-acceptance. Now, what are the tools for self-acceptance? Instead of trying to fix yourself, honor where you are now. Don't wait to be a perfect version of yourself to exist. Imagine yourself as a young child who needs love and acceptance. Try not to criticize yourself. And if at all you do, then forgive yourself. I am enough. That's okay. I am what I am. It's okay if I don't get 100% in mathematics. It's okay if I fail in the exam. What is that? It's okay if I cannot sing. It's okay if I cannot play. It's okay. But I love myself because I'm good at heart. Set clear boundaries with people. You don't value and accept you as you are. If the other person is criticizing you, other person is not accepting you, it's okay. Don't talk to them. Set clear boundaries. Say hi. Don't be a friend to them. Keep a list of things that you love about yourself to turn to when you need a reminder. Sometimes you feel, oh no. At that time, you think about your positive side and boost yourself. If others don't accept you, it's okay, but you accept yourself because each one is unique. You don't know where they lack and where you win. Okay, so let's accept ourselves. Yes.